Hey, welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. I have to apologize. First of all, this ring light did not work last night. I don't know what's happened overnight, but I thought I'd try it, and it worked. So, we're gonna go with it as long as we can. Okay, so now let's take a look at blood sugars. Shouldn't be too different from what we just had. Current blood sugar is 8. See, I don't get the glare anymore. This here tells me I'm fully calibrated, which you saw in the last video. While basal rate was quite active, corrections weren't as active. Now, I was up a bit higher, but it was pretty constant. I'm not waking up feeling kind of could have had a little bit more sleep, but that's Mike's doing, not anyone else's. Time in range is 75%, 25% above, 75% below, or not below, in range. This is staying pretty much within target. So, we're back doing our video, and I do look a lot better than I did in the last video, but we'll see. Today, I want to discuss bone density, looking off into the future. Bone density. And a complication I have, which is not really well known out there in the real world, but we're going to discuss it, and we'll be right back. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. Did you know that diabetics have a higher chance of breaking a bone? I didn't. Well, I kind of did, but I thought it couldn't affect everyone. I just thought I was special, and I guess I'm not special. But it's important to remember that bones are part of the endocrine system. And I thank the video from, was it a podcast? I think it was a podcast from TCOYD, in which they brought up that point, that the bones are part of the endocrine system. They do hormones, like the pancreas. They're porous. They're inside the body. So yes, bones, osteoporosis, bone infections, all sorts of things are more prevalent. I went through a time where they thought I had a problem with my foot. My doctor didn't know what was going on, and I ended up in the hospital. The positive part of this was I met one of my best endocrinologists, Dr. Wallace, at this place, and we were a diabetic team for 20 years. But it was an infection, and I sat there in the hospital while my doctor and radiology and all these specialists were discussing, is it an infection, is it not an infection? It ended up not being an infection, but it kept presenting as warm and such. And what had happened is I broke 3 of the little bones, and I have what's called Charcot's foot. I've got to admit, it's got to be a very mild, but if I get up and go for long walks or any kind of walk, I can get a stress fracture. So, how does this happen? If it's not an infection, how does this happen? Well, I'm going to explain how it was explained to me in very simplistic form. The nerves in your body control blood flow. And your nerves are kind of like a tap. When the nerves are working, it allows blood to go to your feet and to come back. Great. When you have damage to these nerves, they don't quite work, and it's like the tap's on all the time, which makes the foot very soft, and you could cause a fracture. It was one of the reasons why I headed to the chair. The second was nerve pain, but so bone diseases can come up. It's part of diabetes, but it's the overlooked part. I went through a lot of antibiotics with my foot in times past. I went to emergency with an infected, the other foot, but being infected, and told I had, but I had a high urea acid. So they gave me pills and went home. Ended up in the hospital, ended up on a whole bunch of drugs. But who knew? It cleared up. And I think I do have good blood flow to my feet. And I think that is why my bones could have an issue. But on the other hand, wounds I get in my feet, while they take a little bit longer to heal, they don't take forever. Now, I have broken my foot in 5 places, I believe. And usually it's put into an air cast, and it's a big luggy thing you have to lug. But it worked. I had to go see a podiatrist over it. I had to have special shoes made. I no longer have them, but that was the form of treatment. I had to wear a shoe. I had to go on crutches. It would have been so much easier if I had had my chair back then. But, so, high blood sugars can't affect your bones. It's amazing how sugar could affect anything in the body. Bones, eyes, heart, they're all created with blood flow. Bones have blood. They create hormones. They're part of your endocrine, I always had trouble with that word, system of your body. So, again, how do we take care of this? Control, control, control. I have said that time and time again. Now, endocrinologists and other doctors see this so often that they're itchy. People that are out of whack and they're saying, oh yeah, I'm having a tough couple of weeks. But in reality, they're probably having much more. And they kind of have to cut through our crap. And control is the key to feeling better and to be better. I know personally, my mind just goes into, I don't really want to do anything. My relationships with people aren't the greatest. And now it has problems with my bones. And we're not talking just feet. It could be your arms. Now, I'm not having, this is carpal, this isn't bones. Well, it is bones, but it's more nerves. But it could be a finger, it could be an arm, it could be a thigh, whatever. So be alert that if your blood sugars aren't in as tight a control as they can, bone problems can occur. So as a diabetic, it's our responsibility to make sure that we take care of ourselves and constantly get out there and do our exercises, take our insulin. Don't overdo it with food all the time. And when I say food, I mean the junk food, the processed food. A lower carb diet could help you control. Now that usually means less than 30 carbs. I really don't watch the total amount of carbs myself. And because, yes, I can go high very quickly and could cause problems with my bones, but it's sort of a set menu here. I have to eat what they give me. So, but on the whole, pretty well, have been okay. 75%, well, it hasn't been 97 as the last couple of days, but it's still up there. And that's an awesome number. So if you go for a walk and all of a sudden your foot's sore, red, could be a simple bone stress fracture, could be more. If you fall, weakness of the bones, it's all tied in to, guess what? Type 1 diabetes. And also, type 2 diabetes can increase your type. There are several other types of diabetes. The two main ones are either type 1 or type 2. I'm type 1. You're probably type 1. If you're watching this, chances are you're type 1. Be aware. Playing sports, especially like contact sports, ideally, constant high blood sugars are when we're going to run into the biggest problem. Myself, I have Charcot's foot, so if I've been high for a while, standing up is kind of going to be out of the question. Just going for a simple walk in my condition with could break a bone. Doesn't matter what support you have, like what type of shoes you have, you could break a bone. While there are people out there who suffer a lot more with Charcot foot, I wanted to illustrate the point. So be alert. Know what's going on with your blood sugars. And as I've said so many times on this video, and what it's all about with type 1 diabetes is control, control, control. Keeping yourself in control helps your whole body work better. Don't come up with excuses for your highs. Come up with reasons. Excuses would be, oh, I always run that way. Well, you shouldn't always be running that way. And we need to be more aware and don't let things affect your body. It may not affect your bones. It may affect your eyes. It may affect your heart. But guess what? It's all together. And with that, have a great day. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.